Okay.
Meeting is called to order. The recorder is on. It's 8:04. Somebody's talking in the microphone. Siri has commentary. All right, roll call.
All right, we have Jim Bell. Sir Michael Chen. No. Any reaction? Any? There you are, Penny. Morning. Paul Foley.
Here.
Mike Morrow. Paul Tully. Bill Warbler.
Here.
Stuart Salvini. Amy. See here. And then joining us is Tom, myself, Joe Zagorinsky, Brian Hughes, Eugene Tyrone, Jim. Okay, so we have all the police ex officio members. And obviously Turner. And in the room, we also have Tiger Man, Russ Kind. Okay.
Sounds good. All right, any public comments today?
No public comments.
All right, minutes from the January 25th meeting. So they got them, or committee members had a chance to read?
They're fine.
The microphone is on and badly breaking up the meeting.
Gene, that's your microphone. It's causing.
Right. Okay, any change to the minutes proposed? All right, do I have a motion to approve the minutes? Any motion, second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, minutes approved.
Hey, Bill, am I not supposed to vote?
You're still,
Well, we haven't officially done anything yet, Amy, so we can start your official non-voting after this meeting. How's that? We can say in this meeting, because we have a cake for you, we have the band, we have the banners and balloons as your last voting meeting on the building committee. And then going forward, you're just our
Liaison.
liaison. Thank you.
it's officio from now on.
Yes.
Right, I'm so ex officio, like, what does that mean? Ex officio, you're not official, you know?
General business, we go through the rundown. Who wants to go first? Turner or Gene?
Turner's gonna run through the monthly report first. So, Scott and I think probably the biggest news since our last meeting was, we were so optimistic about where we were with abatement, and then we discovered that from Fuss and O'Neill that we had to handle the outer layer of brick on the rear addition a little differently than originally intended. So we had to, in effect, scrape off the outer layer and dispose of it as though it were contained PCBs, because we assumed that the windows had PCBs off around them. So that was a little different strategy, and we weren't sure how easily it was going to come off. So we got some quotes that were a little higher, but we were able to, in effect, just use a couple of teeth on the bucket and peel off the outer layer. And within 3-4 days, we had it all down. So that's the bad news, good news on the demo. And right now we are I would say we started, then we took down the garage once we got a bunch of the brick off. And then once that was down, we were able to get the rest of the brick off, and now we're actually attacking the actual building. And I would say we're about a third of the way down after starting yesterday. So it's moving. It's moving pretty quickly now. But
Good question on that. Did Fuss and O'Neill actually test, or did they say this was presumed PCBs?
they presumed.
Okay. And is this the whole back layer, or was it all the way up? And was it because there was paint on it, or what was it?
No, it was assumed from the windows.
It was what?
Assumed that the window, the caulk around the window would leach into the brick. And so you just, if you're not gonna test, you just, you assume and have to, proceed with that. I think perhaps they didn't realize that the back addition was being demolished. I think they thought it was gonna remain the way the rest of the building was gonna remain.
Assume and demolish is a better way to proceed than much more.
Right. So this was all stuff that was above ground.
Yes.
All right. So there wasn't any reason when they did their original inspection that they wouldn't have seen it.
Well, it wasn't a question of seeing or not seeing, because we had assumed that the caulk that was around the windows had PCBs. We didn't want to test it. So,
Fuss and O'Neill is really good. I was just wondering why it was a surprise. I mean, that's.
Yeah, so I would, so there, during the air clearance, the clearance for demolition, they had their professional, environmental professional, their licensed environmental professional was out. And when they did the original, report, they did not include, they didn't understand that there was the same, that area was the same vintage as the rest of the building. So once it became the same vintage as the rest of the building, the professional, environmental professional was not comfortable. It was the same vintage, so we had to use the same assumption.
Oh, okay.
Is there a delta on the cost on that?
So right now, we had a $100,000 allowance for the kind of, the known unknown of the thing. So we're gonna draw, it looks like we're gonna draw down, that allowance by about $65,000.
So we're gonna draw down $65,000 on something we didn't test? Am I getting that right?
It does not get tested. It does not get tested for PCBs. There's a T-clip that tests the overall bulk of the waste. But there's not, you don't test for the PCBs, because if you test for the PCBs, it changes the whole logic for the rest of the building.
Paul, I don't think it's not testing. They didn't plan to test. It's they didn't understand what they were taking down. It was a comprehension problem, not a testing problem. If they had known, they didn't know what they were supposed to do.
Oh,
And Paul, a lot of times the procedure with PCBs is you just, for a variety of reasons, at least at Saks, we just presumed some things had PCBs and took them out, as if. So you don't actually test every single area that has PCBs. You just say it has PCBs, assume it, and then take it out, and that ends up being the most cost-effective way of doing the project.
Cheaper and much faster.
okay, gotcha. Thank you.
So we're gonna use what, 65% of kind of the 100,000 we had set aside for the known unknowns. I sound like Donald Rumsfeld. So in terms of going forward, are there other spots where we're gonna, in terms of kind of demolition, are there other places where we think there might be things that pop their head up?
The last area would be the waterproofing on the front of the building, where we have to excavate down and then put new waterproofing on the face of the building.
Mm-hmm.
We're waiting for the manufacturer to come back with a decision on whether or not the new product will bond to the old product. And the old product, is assumed, or not assumed, I think they tested that it does have, asbestos in it.
Okay.
That's the last, unknown.
Okay. Fingers crossed.
I'd like to,
Wait, it has asbestos in it, but they think that they can bond something to it and it'll stay encapsulated, or they have to take it out?
It would be encapsulated at that point.
Good.
one other item, there is, some unsuitable soils that we've encountered. So we'll have to address that as well. It's smaller, hopefully it's a smaller item, but
Yeah.
that's the one other risk for environmental.
It's a risk, or they found unsuitable soils?
They found soils that, may or may not have to be handled as hazardous.
Oh, okay, and where are those?
On the threshold, so not enough data to tell you that, but it's a known unknown.
Small area just around, where the old, near the generator, where the old oil tanks were.
Oh, okay.
The tanks were on the path though, right? Or
No, these are old-
these are underground tanks, got it.
All right.
Larry, you wanna pull up the monthly report? It actually would be, did you send it out, Joe? Because I guess people weren't really, we can sort of talk to it, but they won't be able to read it probably from there.
Yeah, it was saying Gene sent it out like.
Does anybody see the screen?
Yes.
Yeah, I actually, I have it on my computer at home here. Yeah.
So this is similar to last month in December, so we have a few updates. Basically the a project summary. Like, do you want me to go through each section, or do you want to highlight each section? I don't know how how the building committee want to go through this, but I just give everybody some highlights. Some project summary, current summary. The force main right now is completed, and we have the construction fence separating ourselves from EMS as well as the neighborhood area, and our current demolition, the upper level is 99%, and main level is 85%, and 35% at lower level. While right now we also starting to demo the existing floor slab that we are going to be lowered. So right now we expecting to finish the rear building demolition. So and then we can start clear the dirt for lowering the slab. As we mentioned a little earlier about the environmental hazard removal. So right now we finished the break, and the other remaining items are the waterproofing and some found unsuitable soil. And highlight on the submittal wise, we are about 2/3 of the way through, not including closeout items. So we are in pretty good shape at this point. Most of the majority main items are either review, approved, and released. And our MVP coordinations of 50%. We get through underground and upper level, so we're down to main level and lower level at this point. All right,
I have a question just on the third item, the low voltage conduits. Can you
Yes.
just explain what that is?
Oh.
And
All right, so I will do. Those are the low voltage conduits that are gonna be feeding the new fiber optic cables from the power pole at the street into both the PD and the EMS building. So currently they come in one side of the building, and we're working to get them to the other side of the building. So we performed underground conduit install at the EMS drive, and now we just need to get them across our site and tie them into the EMS so we can prepare to receive the new fiber optic cables to the new IDF closet on the main level, as well as refeed and support the EMS building.
okay, and just out of curiosity, how big are those conduits for fiber optics to?
So we've got four 4-inch conduits. We've got three 3-inch conduits, and then we've got a 2.5-inch conduit. So they're substantial. I mean, 4 inches is a substantial size.
All right, so we've got lots of room for future.
The only thing we know for sure about the conduits is that when they go to plant a tree, they'll dig them up and cut them, sever them. That's the only thing we know for sure.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. But thanks for noticing. Hopefully not, knock on wood. All right, so thank you. All right,
It's not direct buried cable, which is, we found too.
That's what it was there.
Yeah.
correct. All right, good.
all right, safety wise.
So I'll go down safety wise. Larry and I will probably tag team this just in different various sections here. So total man hours on site, we've got about 3,600 man hours so far on site. Number of workers that we've put through our orientation is 30. So we've had 30 men cycle through the project. And we have 0 lost time accidents, knock on wood. We've been doing pretty good out here with the safety team. So we're in pretty good shape there.
Major
Scrolling down to just hit some of the major milestones. Obviously, we're in the infancy of the project here. Certainly, there are a couple that we have hit. We've completed the EMS sanitary force main, which was a milestone to get EMS kind of operating in their normal fashion as best we could with their drive back up and running. Starting the upper level renovation. We were able to do that as well as we were working through some of the challenges with the rear building and the environmental brick concerns, as well as the jail cell. We were able to keep going upstairs, so we've started the upper level renovation. As we go down, the rest is going to kind of fall into place as we get to the rest of the milestones, but we're still in the infancy here. And certainly some of those milestones, our objective is to try to bring them up and advance them for completion. But certainly we're going to keep moving on as the schedule talks.
In summary, the third line, complete demolition, that's the demolition of the rear addition. That is, you see the adjustment in that time frame is really a combination of the hold for the jail cell and then the additional abatement. So it's, just about a little under a month.
Why is one item, main level windows, jumped by 3 months? Is that a typo?
No, in our original schedule, we didn't differentiate between the windows and the renovation and the addition, but the addition is obviously lagging behind. So we created an extra category, but in our original schedule, we didn't differentiate. We instead start windows. So.
All right.
Look, everything's 3 weeks behind. So any effort, any plan that gets that 3 weeks back?
We'll do whatever we can. I mean,
When we were gonna, isn't it to get the floors of the locker rooms at the right levels, don't we have to do some demolition to
Right.
lower it?
Yeah, so what we're doing right now is we've chopped the floors out. So we've removed the concrete slab. Once the building comes down at the rear, that avails us the ability to extract or remove the dirt from inside the building. We can't do it now and travel through the building demolition. So once we get the demolition down, we then double back inside the building, remove the earth to drop that slab, the 1 foot 10, and then we can begin the interior work. So that answer you, Peg?
Ryan had that laid out with a 45-degree bevel to keep the structural integrity. It said you're taking on a slab. That doesn't quite add up to me.
Yeah,
Right, so the slab, the slab is at a specific elevation. We've chopped the slab out to reveal all the dirt, which is under the slab, the earth that the slab was poured on. We then have investigated the location of the footings within the building, and we're in the process of doing that right now. We're working with our concrete vendor, who has secured a structural engineer to design an underpinning process where necessary to underpin the footings appropriately to carry the load of the existing building. And it's done in such a manner so as to never disrupt the structural integrity of the building, while underpinning, which is basically supporting the footing that will be in terms suspended if we were to drop the slab. So by dropping the slab, we expose the bottom of the footing. We then perform underpinning, which then allows us to continue our efforts without disrupting the structural integrity of the building.
Right, the footings went down at least 12 inches and maybe more.
Yeah, correct. The footings are down about 1 foot 10, somewhere down about 2 foot in various locations. We need to drop the top of slab 1 foot 10, plus you've got some underlayment of stone for the bedding of the concrete, plus or minus 6 inches. So we're going down roughly a 2 foot 4, 2 foot 5, and we're investigating that as we speak. We had a site walkthrough with our vendors and our team, and we formulated a couple of questions for the design based on the existing conditions that we discovered.
If they're doing the right thing, I would vote in favor of reinforcing the footings with lateral support if necessary, just to protect it from your construction work.
Oh, yeah, we've got to follow the structural engineer. There's a separate engineer designing all this, and he's got all kinds of protocol, but it's right now, each footing seems to be, some are all brick, some have some concrete. So there are different flavors out there. The key right now is really to expose it, then sort of bring the engineer down, reanalyze stuff, and then get a fine point on the path forward.
Okay. Caution's the byword.
Ready to go? All right. Again, just getting into some of the critical activities that we have going on here. Certainly lowering the level slab is a big deal. So we're working through those, and that was our meeting that we had yesterday with our team. The construction fence is complete. We've walked through that. Separation of the existing building to be demoed. So we've done the separation, and we're now in the process of the demo itself. The MEP coordination Larry had alluded to, we're about 50% plus or minus through that. Upper floor is complete, and the underground, which are our priorities. Confirming the underpinning review, as we said, that's something that we're working on right now. So we have the designs from the engineer. We just need to make sure that they are appropriately applied to the existing conditions and are true to what exists in the field. Front of building waterproofing, we're working on. I'm back and forth with both the waterproofing vendor and the site team as we're trying to manage the existing condition that we have there for the existing waterproofing. And if we can mitigate it without having to remove it, that would be the preferred method. Getting all the teams involved, just getting the manufacturer out here from Pennsylvania is our chase. And then the existing terracotta structural impact concerns. I'm going to be walking with Brian Humes, the design team, Monday. We're going to look at some of the challenges that we've uncovered with this with the existing terracotta and confirm whether or not they are in fact challenges or if it's in a condition where we can mitigate and move forward without any concern. So that's happening. So those are the main hits, critical activities as we're working right now. Certainly those will change as our direction and as we progress out here in the field.
So Larry, why don't you just run through some of the financial, with your backup sheets, and then. Other than that, it's just.
You wanna do it now or when we get to the section?
Yeah, I think we've touched on really everything
Okay.
else. Middle
right.
star. So,
So. So with that, so this is basically the backup with the financial stuff, related to the front page. This is the backup of how those numbers came from. So there are, I think we talked, for the pending ones, I think we went through this, last couple, building committee meetings, the windows and the temper jail cell, as well as, I think the floor prep. So those are one, going through the motion and this, I guess from this column are the ones that are right now we currently, we anticipate there's some adds and deducts on certain area, where we talk about the brick payment. We are assuming right now it's a estimated around $65,000. Right now we're getting the last pieces, so that we can finalize the cost for those. I think those are the new one from last month. So I think maybe not last meeting. I think a couple meetings before we talked about the existing plastic ceiling. So now that we have the carpenter come here and we start looking at it and start fixing it, this is just a whole number on there's some cost impact. I think other than those few,
I don't,
I'm sorry, I got lost there for a second. Are we in section 6 or section 5 of this worksheet?
Page 2.
we went.
We're on
to
page
the
2. That's
backup.
right. That's
Yeah.
right. All right. Got it. Sorry. That's why I had that pop
Yeah,
down there.
that's kind of related to section 8.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Yeah,
Section 8 comes from that.
yeah,
It's derived from the PCO log. Is that it?
Correct.
correct.
Got it. Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yep.
so, just remind, if I'm not remembering correctly, I sort of thought, had we done, like, sort of thought from item 8 down was new since the last meeting, or 9 down, that $2,000 one.
Oh, okay, all right.
That's what I was remembering we had. Just if you wanted to give a quick explanation on.
Sure, okay. Sorry, this log changes weekly. I forgot how many. So the 8's down. So the number 9, there was a ASI from the design team revising the spec for the track. We're estimating some, maybe there's some cost right now. We're finalizing the overhead door right now with the vendor.
And
So-
where's the overhead door?
Sorry?
Where is the overhead door in the project?
The overhead door, there are 6 overhead doors total. The 2 in the 4 in the carports, sorry, and then 2 in the garage area on the north side. So in the, I guess in the new addition southeast area where the sally port and the carport area, they're next to each other. There's 4 from the exterior go into the building, and then 2 sets of interior go underneath the canopy area. Those are 4. There's a 4 total, and then the 2 in the garage.
Okay.
Okay,
The next one, sorry. The IT fiber conduits. There are a couple of new fiber conduits. I think 1 or 2. That was that came out a few weeks ago. There was a set of drawings, and there's so that's an estimated cost for the new run of the fiber conduits.
Okay.
The next one, number 11, piece of 11A, is for ASI number 6. They're doing MVP coordination. There's some discussions on some of the couple of roof drains and the location of it, it's conflicting with the steel, and we're working with the design team, and it's to I guess we're configuring as the portion of the roof, and changing some of the changing a couple of the roof drain locations at design. The next one is the it's the additional environmental soil sampling services. We hire a third party to sampling the soil, as we mentioned earlier. We discovered some of the known unknown, confirmed that some known unknown contaminated soil in that area, in some area on the northwest corner.
That's a zero because it's going against your contingency, right?
Our construction conditions, correct. The next the next one is the roof hatch size change.
We had a
I
question.
have a quick question back on the conduit thing. Conduits were included in the original bid, right?
Yes, but once we did our layout, Brian looked at it and he reconfigured it a little bit.
Well,
So
the
you
one gets the
yeah.
trench open, putting more conduits in the same trench doesn't make any difference, so what was the change?
Brian, can you help me out here? I remember this was about a month ago with this surface.
Yeah, we were bringing fiber in from the pole from the street, and we had to put some new conduits that went over to the fiber box for the town fiber. We were assuming that the town fiber was coming off the pole, but the town fiber is coming off underground out of South Avenue. So we added some conduits so we could separate off EMS from the police department.
All right.
Separate plumbing, separate fiber. All right.
It's completely separated now.
The next one, the roof hatch. During there was some question about the conflict with the one of the steel member supporting steel. During submittal review, we have Brian and the design team. We have making the roof hatch size bigger. So right now
Is that to get up to the cupola?
that is going up to the new addition roof.
Okay.
The back, yeah.
Equipment that's on that roof.
We increased the size of the roof hatch so you didn't have a head conflict getting from the ladder up onto the roof.
Climb out of the windows on the second floor and get on the roof.
No, that's the old way of doing it, climbing up.
Yeah, you get nice access now. Go up to the roof. The next one, security plumbing fixture change. There was some coordination with the security plumbing. There's some question about certain functionality. There was the jail cell area, and after some discussion with the second, there was a change to not using, I think, a computerized shut off. It's now is a menu, so to speak, shut off. So there's some credit for that. I'm sorry, I couldn't see the next one. The existing floor prep. I think last week, last building committee, we talked about just having the existing floor on the upper level when we removing the existing flooring, the underlayment peeled off. We work with Ryan and the vendor, and we're suggesting floating a level the entire floor to make it make the subfloor more suitable for new flooring finishes. The next one, the louver coordination. There was I think doing submittal review and this was added a louver in the carport area. I think and then some minor size change on a couple of the louvers.
Structural.
The next one is ASI number 8, structural revision. That was came out from the MEP coordination. We have to revise a beam and so that we can make the one of the beams smaller to have the some MEP plumbing, some ductwork going through certain area. It was pretty tight in one location. The next one is a miscellaneous update on for ASI number 10. Members serve, I believe, I think added a new refrigerator in there, added a new roof ladder from the high roof to the low roof. I think those two are the major thing.
So every time Brian issues a sketch, it's the ASI, and then we just put it on there. That's our estimate value. We're waiting to get the subs to actually price it, but we want to have a number in there as a placeholder.
Yep, thank you. And then the next couple of them, the brick abatement, we talked about it earlier. The existing plus that I mentioned earlier as well. And the last two, PCO number 21 and 22, something that while I'm doing the submittal process, I find out that there's certain things that that there was a scope gap, and we're buying we're buying the product. I think it was I think some we would are purchasing assuming that they may be reusing existing, but it was not. I guess misread some of the specs, so that's gonna come from a contingency for those.
Where's the canopy hood go? I'm sorry.
It's the gun cleaning room. This is the canopy hood for the gun cleaning.
Oh, okay, got it. All right.
And
that was misread?
No, when we buy the job, when we buy out the subcontractor, we have we bought out the connections between the with the hood from the mechanical guy and the electrical subcontractor. So somehow we forgot to buy the equipment itself. We thought, I guess, we thought this was we using existing and when we start digging deep and there was scope gap between ourselves and the drawings.
So what he's saying is it's on the drawings, they just have to go out and buy it now.
Correct. All right. Go back to that.
All right.
Right.
We'll
go back.
That's where all this number representing. All right.
Okay.
I think that's it.
Some pictures. Current cash flow seems close to our original projection.
So yeah, we've submitted our next bill, which is about $550,000, and a little under our projection, but I think that sort of speaks to some of the delays and the demolition process.
I'm sorry, I know you explained this in other meetings. Can you talk, what is the holds report?
It's
That totals 336,000.
It's a different. It's the same terms. It's on board. It's similar to. It's exactly same as holds. It's basically something that we know. Dealing on GMP, we know there are certain things that we have. We're gonna do. Let's say MVP coordination. We know there may be some cost to it, but we couldn't put a exact dollar value. So we have a hold that we can put it within the GMP.
So the 336 is already in the project
Yeah,
cost.
exactly. Yep, it's the
Okay.
unbulked in the front page.
Okay. Thanks.
Yep. That's about it with overview of the February monthly report. And any questions? Right.
Just a quick question on the steel and the precast. Those are two big milestone activities. Are you comfortable? Shop drawings approved and fabrication, those are going to hit those dates?
Right now, we are finalizing the steel shop drawings. Right now, there's some conflict with some of the last bit of finishes when we start getting all the products. So right now I'm working through with the design team and try to get the release. They are right now. I think we the steel wise is right now. I think our current schedule show in May. I think the original was mid-April. I think right now from what last conversation we had there, I think the May beginning of May is what they're looking at as well too. So right now, the last bit of the coordination, we should be able to release the steel.
It's just getting through all these, these disruptive
Products,
challenges
the
for the MEP coordination.
Yeah, and
Getting us to a point where we've solidified all the outstanding issues. So we're trying to keep the ball rolling on the upper floors and the underground with the MEP while chasing these conflicts. But I think we're close. Our meeting is today, is our MEP meeting, and hopefully we can button those up and keep that. That is something we're tracking and is important to the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just wonder if, because you have completion dates versus start dates, so it's a little hard to understand, like, when are they supposed to be on site unless you go to the schedule.
Right.
So what's driving the delay? Is it more the steel delay in coordination, or is it more the demolition? Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
Yeah.
The steel wise,
Go ahead, Ty.
Yeah, I mean, we can't obviously start the steel until we get the foundations in.
Sure.
So that's pushing from one side, but then the MEP coordination, we've got, some hits and issues with ductwork and trucks. We're trying to raise things and skinny up.
Okay.
So we're looking at it from two sides and trying to resolve it from both sides.
And there's a MEP coordination BIM meeting today.
They happen every week.
Yeah, so it's pretty impressive, but we're gonna build this project on paper first, and we're actually not on paper, digitally first. And then, as much as it's a little more time consuming up front, it drives the potential changes down. Because again, it's all being built in a model. Three-dimensional. It's pretty impressive. If anyone wants to see it, we can definitely share the meeting link.
Okay, is there any trouble getting any steel that we need?
No.
Any other long lead items that we have any updates on?
I think we talked, the switch gear, is
October.
critical. That's tracking now to early October. And we have, our company has monthly calls with Schneider, who's the fabricator, and we discuss all our projects countrywide. And then the generator is coming up at the end of October, but that's less critical. That's pretty much a plug and play. But the switch gear we need to get everything else in the building up and running.
Right.
And the
Again, that's October.
Yeah, early October. The air handling units are actually ahead of schedule right now. So.
Yeah, we actually have the air handling unit right now sitting in the rig reserve.
From now on, we set up a material tracking sheet. Things like light fixtures, those are always a bit of a challenge. We'll get 80% of them, and then 20% will come in a different shipment a little later. That's parts and pieces coming from different suppliers. But there are lots.
And at what point will a delay in the switchgear really affect our bottom line delivery date? Because we've gotten really nothing but, frankly, slippage news on this thing for the last, we were talking about this a year ago as an issue, right? When we went to the town for early funding and things like that. And ever since then, it's just, a little further out. Is when do I start really losing? So I lose a little sleep over it now. When do I really start staring at the ceiling with this thing?
Well, if we get to October and it's not there, but we're gonna be tracking it long before that. We don't want it to be a surprise when it doesn't show up. That's why we have these monthly calls with all the suppliers, but Schneider's the one that we're working with on our project.
You said, but anybody gonna make a visual inspection?
We will, once we get a little further down the road. I think one of the reasons actually we went Schneider on Square D is that this is manufactured somewhat locally as opposed to Mexico, so it is something we can go look in and put our hands on.
Are these the same switch guys we used over on Locust?
No. No.
Okay, good.
So, Gene, is this your turn?
Before Gene starts, can you just tell me the 3 pictures on the right, what we're looking at?
Hold on a moment. Okay. So we got on the top left, photo is just something of the front drive. It was kind of
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. Larry's gonna just show, for those of you that don't have it in front of you, Larry will just put it up there. So, if you can see that there, that top left picture is really just the front drive. We
Right.
put in the underground and we're preparing to, for the force main. The one to the right is a front door elevation looking in at the old dispatch area transaction window there.
Oh,
This lower one here on the bottom is where that is also on the lower level, looking through from the chief's old office across the front of the dispatch area. That pile of rubble was looking, back into the old conference room.
okay.
Right. And then this upper level is showing that we've leveled the floors with the floor leveling. We've taken down all the demolition on the upper level. You're looking at the elevator right there. That's the elevator.
Okay.
And that the studs are up around the perimeter and the floor is leveled, and we're beginning the process of framing right now. So if I may just take a real quick hit so everybody knows what's going on. Upper floor, we've floor leveled and we have shot top and bottom track on half of the area. The entire area is laid out. So we're continuing with the track. By the end of this week, we should be 75% done with our framing up there. The electricians have started pulling their wires in the wall and putting in their back boxes. And the HVAC team is out here doing their layout to coordinate for their overhead hangers and parts and pieces that go overhead in coordination with the framing so we can box out appropriately. We're looking at the soffits for the exterior windows and starting that framing. So there's a lot going on the upper level. On the main level, currently, we have the last little bit of demo that's happening in the dispatch area and cleaning up. We've got some floor patching that has to happen where the holes for the old bathrooms are. And we're starting to, next week, we're going to get out there and scarify the floor, shot blast it to prepare for the next round of flooring on the main level. Lower level, we kind of beat up a little bit. It's basically demoed. The boiler room pipe is all coming out this week. We're dropping the floor in the old locker rooms, in the old jail cell area removed. And we're going to continue to drop that floor as we take all the above ceiling, that mishmash of conduits and wires and everything overhead from the old heating pipes that were initiated from the boiler room.
Thanks.
And just so you know that the police have walked through, the offices were starting to be framed out, looked at the layout, improved the, Andrew and John were out and looked at their offices and we're happy with it.
I didn't get to do that here. We're making a complaint.
We mean yours a foot smaller. And we actually, Joe was in a meeting, the other Joe, so they made his office, a couple feet shorter to make it bigger.
Chief showed up, deputy chief showed up, but Joe was a no-show, it was a no-show, so we're, Captain, you are losing space.
No, but in all seriousness, it's important for everyone to go in and just make sure that everything's as they expected. Because it's really cheap to change, the lines on a floor, but it's really expensive once it's, sheetrocked and.
That's right.
So.
Yep.
Everyone's welcome to look at the layout as it gets created.
Well, I'm glad you left Joe's chair there in the front lobby.
Gene,
Okay.
Sorry,
I
Joe.
nice job, guys, Turner, on the housekeeping too. I love a clean job site.
No, appreciate that. That keeps it safe, keeps it clean and organized, and allows everybody to be efficient in their work. So that's our strive.
Mhm. All right, I'm going to share my screen, which if you follow along, it'll be page 4 of the PDF, which is the executive summary. Can you all see that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. So basically what I'm just going to report here today is really to focus on, the GMP and the soft cost. What we're trying to do is trying to manage the $29 million. From our last report, we did take a little bit of a hit here, just because we did encumber the expected expenses that Turner shared on the PCO log. So we're being ultra conservative and assuming the worst case scenario on those expenses. And part of that is we took $105,000 bite for the abatement, just to assume every potential situation, although the 65 makes it much more favorable, and next month we'll report that. But we took a net add on the contingency of about $25,000 here to kind of deal with the budget that we had allocated for some of the abatement and kind of what we thought was going to be the overage. Fortunately, in this case, it's all worked out pretty well, but we still have that last bit of abatement to deal with on the exterior installation. So I think we're doing good. I think even though we're chipping this down, I think this will potentially grow back a little bit. Schedule wise, at Penny's suggestion, we did include the project completion date here, so that Turner has their date that they've targeted right now, roughly right around January 10th, and a final project completion, which is really the commissioning, the inspections, the furniture move in, punch lists, and all that stuff. And obviously we'll strive to improve that as we get further down the road. Any questions there?
No.
Move in would then be fall 2025 or a little bit before?
Correct. Yes. Or before. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. It's just a little early.
Summer of 2025.
Yeah, so what we did was we put the fall of 2025 because that was our projected completion date. And then we'll bring that forward as the data suggests that we're gonna be done earlier. Well, I think we're gonna be able to bring that back till June pretty quickly, but we wanted it to start where we started.
We need to do that for two reasons, because the good bid that Turner came in with was based on a reduction of the general conditions by having a shorter schedule. And so if we blow the schedule out, the general condition will blow right back up again.
Right. Yeah. This is
You're assuming in that logic, you're assuming Turner's there for the last 3 months, where it might just be a skeleton crew for us moving furniture and other things like that. But I understand your point. We will move forward. It was just, we wanted to start with the baseline.
The
That's the
10 by
first,
25 is still critical to keep the project cost down.
yeah.
Yeah, I think the suggestion
that-
also
that's
was really,
Yeah, well, that's
Penny's
the-
suggestion was not to show the project creeping, because we don't want public to see that the project is slipping when really we have a fall completion of 2025. You know, we'll tighten that up as the project gets closer, to come up with the win, you know. Otherwise, I think, just in some of my commentary, you know, I think, you know, that rear, building removal, although they did remove the pre-engineered building piece of that earlier, the completion of the demolition really started right around 2/7 for the actual demolishing of the building. And as Turner mentioned, the EMS force main, which was a big piece of separating the umbilical cord between those two buildings, is done. And then overall project completion for demolition is about 75%, although there are certain sections that are done in advance if you look at the Turner section 1 on the report. So I don't want to repeat stuff that he's already done. And obviously, we're also following the cash flow, here as well, and just tracking it. You know, so they're about 5.31% complete for January. And again, these are pretty good graphs when it comes to target versus projection so far. You know, pretty happy with that. And as Ty mentioned, you know, it probably would have been right on that line hadn't it been for a little bit of the delay in the abatement and the gel cell construction. So all good. I'm pretty happy with everything. I think we're on a good track. Questions?
Right.
Any more updates before we go on to the next steps?
Actually, Brian, if you could go through the terracotta, question regarding the windows or the barn lights.
Yeah, thanks, Joe. I'm gonna be down on the job site Monday. It's the next time I'm gonna be down there visiting. And as reported in January, when we stripped off some of the drywall, we found that the masonry that we thought was CMU was actually terracotta. And that terracotta block is not a real stable product if you want to start cutting it and putting lintels into it. The structural engineer is not comfortable with that being cut and modified. So the area that is in question is the physical training room and the walls that we want to put these windows into. That we have a door opening, we have 3 window openings, and then we have another door opening. Well, that wall that we want to cut and put those openings into is actually looking like this. That's the terracotta block that we're finding. Now, to the right of it is CMU. This is what we were anticipating seeing. But even in this area in 1980, they have done some demolition. I think this was so they can install a fire extinguisher cabinet. And this is all structural wall, but they've compromised the masonry here also back in 1980. So if we're going to put openings in this wall, it's the suggestion, recommendation of the structural engineer that all of this terracotta come down and then replace it with CMU, which is the product that you see on the right. It would be much more stable. We can install lintels. We can make the openings just like we called for. So the other option that the building committee has is only put the 2 doors in, do not put the windows in, and we can have the terracotta remain as is. So the question for the building committee is, do we continue? The removal of this terracotta was not in the scope of the project, was not anticipated. So the question of the building committee is, do we want to spend money on some additional demolition so we could get the windows as designed? Or do we scale that project back and only put in the doors and not the windows? And we could actually not have to incur the amount of demolition that's going to be required on that wall.
There might be a third alternative. I don't know if it's any cheaper, but would be to just cut out the window areas and put in vertical steel reinforcing beams.
That's another way to support the floor above. I think the masonry may be the more cost effective. To get the mason included, and it's just along this wall instead of footings, columns, footings, because we're not cutting the slabs in these areas.
Give me approximately the delta to convert over to CMU, how much?
We've done that calculation. Actually, probably the biggest expense is you have to shore up the building when you take all that terracotta out. So we've had to, put some shoring towers in and steel beams across to pick up that load.
That should be able, not so expensive, especially if you do it incrementally instead of ripping it all out. If you do it by section, you don't find, there are ways to do that without being quite so expensive as you just described. So let's get a number on that, but I would favor going to the CMU replacement. One other, and do it, if you do it incrementally, maybe it's more expensive, but let's figure out how to do it the least cost way and get a number.
We would defer to Brian, structural engineer on.
Yeah, I know that the windows was a request of the building committee, so we put them in there at that request. So I didn't want to make the determination that they go away. We can put them in there. It's just gonna.
What are the choice, Brian? Instead of, we thought this was gonna be CMU, so we put 3 small windows in. How about just putting one large one in the middle and reinforcing it with steel supports on both ends to support the upper floor? And then leave the terracotta in the back 2/3 of the space.
It depends how much terracotta we want to leave. And if it's not enough, we're gonna take it all out. We're just not comfortable leaving that as a structural in small quantities. We'd rather take it all out.
Put supporting beams on both sides of one larger window, you probably accomplish the same thing, but I'll leave it to you and the structural engineer to come up with a solution.
Yeah, and it is a structural wall. So a larger opening is probably not helping us. The smaller openings, we have smaller lintels, smaller spans, and we're comfortable with that.
And the
So
doors
what-
themselves, are they glass? Are the doors, if we are taking an idea of what the visual of the gym physical training area will be, will the doors at least be glass?
Yes, the doors have half glass.
So we don't have an idea on the cost for this yet, right?
We do not.
So I think we could get a cost. I mean, this was a safety issue as well as an aesthetic issue in terms of adding these windows.
We could have glass doors now too, right? With the glass doors kind of
It-
help.
The doors do have glass, so there is the glass in the doors. It's whether you want additional glass.
So we could add additional, could we even add? To what extent are the doors glass?
Half glass.
We have pretty good vision into the hallway from a safety perspective.
No.
Okay.
Why don't we get Brian, why don't we get a price for a couple different scenarios so that we can make an intelligent decision how to move forward?
And that's what,
So let's get the CMU replacement costs, and then with the 2 glass doors and 1 window in the middle, that's probably the second least alternative.
well, I'll be down there Monday, and this is what I'll be looking at Monday.
And when was the terracotta put in?
1927.
And we've already ordered the 3 windows, right?
Correct.
Well, I don't know that we've actually placed the orders for them, but
We're doing shop drawings, I don't think we're into the fabrication yet.
We included the cost of the 3
Yes,
windows.
yes.
The cost of those frames is in the GMP.
but you may be able to save that. So it would be the delta, it would be, you're either gonna save money by deleting 3 windows, or you're gonna add the shoring, the CMU, and then you have to do a credit for the base work. But it's not gonna, I mean, it's gonna be, if it's I don't wanna throw out numbers, but if it's gonna be a $25,000 item, is the building committee interested in?
Speaking for myself, probably yes. But I think that the one you didn't include, which is one window in the middle and two glass doors, so you get three windows in.
But I think I heard Brian say, once you touch the terracotta wall,
If you took
the
out,
structural engineer is not gonna want us to keep any of it. Is that correct?
Right.
let's see what. I
Joe,
agree.
were you saying you thought the whole change order would be 25,000?
Oh,
No.
I'm trying to establish the value of those windows as far as a go, no go, to have Brian and everyone chase pricing around. It's going to be in that order of magnitude.
I'd vote for that. I mean, I think that we wanted to do that we were concerned about that space. We went with the slightly lower, roof because we think it'll work and the windows were, important to open the area up and also just for visibility in. So, I mean, if that's the level of change order that we're in, I'd be prepared to go forward with it.
If it's for 150,000, you'd probably say no. Let's get the numbers and then discuss it next meeting. Or if you need an interim vote, we'll do that.
Just keep us updated, Larry, if we're talking to the subs about the shoring, because there has to be some engineered shoring have to be done, the engineers will have to give us their opinion on everything. But just give us, if you see it going, much more expensive or much cheaper, just give me an update so I can update the committee on it.
Yeah, I think the thought would be if Brian just get together, I don't care if it's a little, a verbal, a written note or a written, description or something, so at least we can follow it with a basis. What are we pricing up exactly? But yeah, we could certainly chase something there and try to break down some shoring, some CMU and then, window frame stuff. So, yeah, Brian, well, when you come out Monday, Brian, we can just talk so we kind of are clear with our request so we can expedite the information we receive and make sure it's useful.
Yeah, we first saw this in January. We reported to the building committee in January that it was terracotta. There may be some structural implications, but this lower level wall seems to be the biggest impact. Everything else I think is manageable.
Agreed.
That's it?
It's an archaeological site.
That's right. Keep digging.
Okay, next steps, we just discussed one of the next steps. Any other next steps that we need to discuss as a group?
Well, I think there's a meeting that's been scheduled with the neighbors. Is that right?
Yes, I've sent out the emails. I've spoken with most of them have responded. So I believe it is next Wednesday at 10 o'clock, the 14th. I believe 10 a.m. I don't have my calendar in front of me. And the intent is everybody seemed receptive. I spoke to mostly everybody. And it's just an informative, hey, this is what we're doing. Here's my number. Try to just answer any questions that they may have or inquiries and, keep them a part of it as a community, as much as, if there's some information they need, we can get that to them. More of an informative, hi, how are you? We're going to be here for a year. Please call me if you have any questions.
Have any neighbors complained so far? You said no?
No.
No, okay. And you did do the 100-foot notification to everybody? Okay. Any new business?
Nope.
Anything else before we adjourn?
Adjourn.
All right, 2 weeks to the next meeting. Everybody have a good week.
Be well.
Thanks for all the great work.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank
Be
you.
well. Get your shovels out.
Meeting's closed at 9:13.
Thank you.
Take care.